All right, so today we're talking about the stock market. But forget everything you think you know. Forget the skyscrapers on Wall Street, forget the blinking red and green screens. To really, and I mean really, understand where it all comes from, we've got to go back, way back, like over 400 years back, to uncover a pretty wild origin story.
So let's just jump right into the big question. What in the world does a 17th century spice ship have to do with modern finance? I mean, seriously, a wooden boat sailing for spices. How does that connect to your 401k or that trading app on your phone? Well, it turns out the answer is everything. And that is the incredible story we are diving into right now.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the Netherlands, it's the early 1600s. And our story starts with this massive, globe-spanning company that's basically built on one giant high-stakes bet. A bet on spice. So you've got the famous Dutch East India Company, or the VOC, and they have this huge problem. See, they want to send these enormous fleets of ships halfway across the globe to get their hands on super valuable spices. But, and this is a big but, these trips were ridiculously expensive, incredibly dangerous, and they took years, before anyone could hope to see a single penny of profit.
And just think about how insane the risks were. We're talking about pirates, crazy storms, diseases, the whole 9 yards. You needed an absolute fortune just to build and supply the ships. And if you were one of the brave souls who invested back then, well, your money was just gone. It was tied up for years, and all you could do was sit and hope that your ship would quite literally come in.
So faced with this massive, almost impossible financial puzzle, the folks in Amsterdam came up with something truly revolutionary.
And this right here? This is the whole shebang. They basically invented the concept of public equity. Think about that for a second. Instead of just a few super rich merchants taking on all that crushing risk, they said, hey, what if we chop it up into tiny affordable pieces? We'll call them shares. It was genius. They turned this giant private risk into a public opportunity. Now, practically any citizen could get in on the action. This wasn't just some new financial trick. It was a massive shift, moving away from a feudal system and straight into the world of modern capitalism.
And it all clicked into place in one key year, 1602. That's the year the Amsterdam Stock Exchange was born. The very first of its kind in the entire world, created for one reason and one reason only, to trade shares in the VOC.
I mean, this just changed everything. For the first time ever, a company was selling pieces of itself to the general public. A baker, a blacksmith, you name it. They could own a tiny slice of one of these huge expeditions. They'd share in the massive profits if things went well, but they'd also share in the risk. Right there, the modern idea of owning a company was born.
But here's the thing. Creating this exchange didn't just fix the VOC's money problem. Nope, it basically gave birth to all the core mechanics of modern finance, the stuff we still use every single day. This one idea sparked a whole wave of financial breakthroughs. First up, liquidity. All of a sudden, you weren't locked in for years. If you wanted out, you could just sell your share to somebody else. That created what we now call a secondary market, a real place where people could buy and sell these shares from each other. And of course, once you have that, you get speculation. People started making bets based on news, rumors, anything that might change the price. And to top it all off, the VOC started paying dividends. It was the first company ever to share its profits directly with its owners, the shareholders.
But you got to remember, this wasn't happening with fancy computers or complex algorithms. Not even close. It was loud, it was chaotic, and it was all done by hand, with people literally shouting at each other in a big room.
Just look at the difference here. Back in 1602, every single trade was a handwritten contract. To settle the trade, someone had to physically walk a piece of paper over to someone else. Now compare that to today. We've got supercomputers, instant digital settlement across the globe. It's like a different world technology-wise. But the basic idea, it's exactly the same.
The system they built in Amsterdam was just so powerful, so effective. It was really only a matter of time before the rest of the world caught on.
And you can just watch it happen on this timeline. It starts in Amsterdam in 1602. Then, more than 100 years later, it jumps to Paris. Then it crosses the ocean to America, first in Philly, then New York, right after the Revolution. And by 1875, this little Dutch idea has gone all the way to India with the Bombay Stock Exchange. It's incredible.
Yeah, as one historian put it, the success of Amsterdam's exchange just inspired other countries to develop similar financial markets. They didn't just make a market for themselves. They created the blueprint, the very foundation for the entire global financial system we have today.
All right, so let's bring this all the way back to today. How do we connect those dusty old ledgers from the 1600s to the powerful laptops and smartphones that we all use to trade today?
Well, here's the thing. In over 400 years, the basic job of the stock market hasn't changed one bit. It's still all about connecting people who have money to invest with businesses that need that money to grow, to innovate, and to create jobs. And by doing that, it gives everyday people a way to take part in all that economic growth. The mission is exactly the same. It's just the technology that's changed.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Yeah, the tools have changed. A lot. We've gone from quill pens to AI algorithms. But the fundamental human stuff behind it all, that desire to manage risk, that ambition to grow your wealth, that has not changed one bit since 1602.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question, right? We've gone from physical paper to digital ledgers. Now we're hearing all this talk about things like blockchain and decentralized finance, or DeFi, ideas that could, in theory, get rid of stock exchanges completely. So you have to wonder, what's the next big step? What's the next chapter in this incredible 400-year-old story?